Most people believe the difference between financial security and financial stress comes down to income. They assume that once they earn more, everything else will fall into place. But after decades of observing how people actually build or destroy their finances, I've learned something very different. The biggest factor isn't how much you earn. It's what you consistently choose not to spend money on. I've seen people with high salaries live paycheck to paycheck for decades. And I've seen people with average incomes quietly build real financial security. The difference isn't luck. It's restraint. There are certain spending habits that quietly sabotage long-term wealth. They don't look dangerous. Society treats them as normal. In fact, they're often encouraged. But over time, they drain resources, delay progress, and make financial independence feel impossible. Let's walk through 5 of the most damaging ones. Not to judge, but to understand what actually matters. Treating cars as lifestyle upgrades instead of tools. A car is transportation. That's its function. But many people treat cars as rewards, identity markers, or proof of progress. And that mindset is expensive. Newer vehicles lose value quickly. Financing increases the cost even more. What looks like a reasonable monthly payment often represents tens of thousands of dollars that will never compound or grow. The issue isn't owning a car. It's overpaying for transportation. Reliable, used vehicles perform the same function without draining future opportunity. When you reduce how much you tie up in depreciating assets, you free resources for things that actually build stability. Wealth grows when tools stay tools, not status symbols, allowing housing to crowd out every other financial goal. Housing is important. Comfort and safety matter. But problems arise when housing costs consume so much income that nothing else can grow. Many people buy homes based on what a lender approves, not on what leaves room to invest, save, and adapt. Over time, this creates a situation where net worth is tied up in a single, illiquid asset while flexibility disappears. Financial security doesn't come from the largest possible home. It comes from balance. When housing costs are reasonable, money can flow into savings, investments, and opportunities. That flexibility compounds quietly over time, spending to signal success instead of building it. Luxury purchases often promise confidence, belonging, or recognition, but the return is temporary, while the cost is permanent. Clothing, accessories, and branded items rarely improve quality of life in proportion to their price. Their main function is signaling, not utility. Over time, choosing appearance over progress creates a pattern. Money leaves, nothing productive replaces it, and stress increases. True financial confidence doesn't need validation. It shows up as stability, options, and peace of mind. Using credit for comfort instead of necessity. Credit itself isn't the enemy. Misusing it is. When borrowed money funds things that lose value, furniture, electronics, trips, lifestyle upgrades, it creates a double drain, interest plus depreciation. This turns today's comfort into tomorrow's pressure. High-interest debt doesn't just slow progress. It actively reverses it. Paying more in interest than investments can reasonably earn makes long-term growth mathematically unlikely. Financial momentum requires clearing friction, not adding it. Letting external expectations shape financial decisions. This may be the most subtle and most damaging habit of all. Many spending decisions aren't made for personal benefit. They're made to avoid judgment, comparison, or discomfort. People buy things not because they need them, but because they fear standing out. But financial independence requires the opposite. Being willing to look different, live differently, and prioritize long-term outcomes over short-term approval. Other people's opinions don't compound. Your decisions do. The pattern that emerges. When you look closely, financial strain usually isn't caused by one big mistake. It's caused by many small, socially accepted choices repeated for years. Transportation that costs too much. Housing that leaves no margin. spending that prioritizes image, debt that quietly accumulates, decisions shaped by comparison. None of these feel catastrophic in the moment, but together, they create a system where progress becomes impossible. Financial security works the opposite way. It's built through controlled spending, intentional restraint, investing the difference, ignoring noise, staying patient. A better question to ask, instead of asking, "Can I afford this?" Ask, "What is this delay?" Every dollar has a future, either working for you or disappearing. Final thought. Building wealth isn't about perfection. It's about alignment. When spending supports long-term goals instead of undermining them, progress becomes inevitable. Not dramatic, not flashy, just steady. And over time, that steadiness creates freedom.